Welcome back as we take a live look at Bourbon Street in New Orleans, the city in mourning this hour after a suspected terrorist rammed into a crowd on New Year's Eve. At least 10 are dead, dozens more injured. The suspect killed in a shootout with police, but the FBI is saying they don't believe he was acting alone. So that is cause for great concern. We are now joined by former New Orleans Mayor Marc Morial, president of the National Urban League. We thank you very much for being with us and giving us your time today. Yeah, first I just want to ask you just for your initial reaction to your beloved city. When you heard that this happened, did you have any security concerns about the specific area and day? And just give us your first reactions, please.
Well, I like many, am angry, hurt, eager to find out if any friends or family were part of those who have either been killed or injured because of the heinous act of this person and his accomplices who remain at large. I'm hopeful and believe it is in order for the city, with the cooperation of the state and the feds. And I say the city because the city should lead. It is a city. French Quarter is part of a city. And that leadership should be an immediate assessment of the security system around the French Quarter and the downtown area. Not to point fingers, but to find deficiencies, but to ensure that any holes are plugged, any things that can be fortified immediately, because they're not only Sugar Bowl games, but people visit downtown New Orleans every day of the year for events, for leisure, for weddings, for family reunions, and for graduation. So I think that is certainly in order. And I'd like to know where those ballasts or ballards or whatever these metal devices, where were they and why weren't they up? Because they could have stopped that truck from doing what it did. So we need an answer, indeed, on that question. And I think local officials are going to certainly want to do an assessment of that to get the right answer.
Right. Well, it's our understanding that some of them were under repair, that they had malfunctioned, that they were trying to get them ready to go for the Super Bowl, for when even more people were coming into town. But, you know, we just had on two former FBI agents who were very critical of that first news conference that we had just about 2 hours ago. I just wanted to know if you listened to that.
I don't run my news conferences that way. That's all I'll say.
Okay, well, that's what I was going to ask you. Or do you have the same criticisms?
They were organized, but here's what I want to do. These two FBI agents are a long way away from New Orleans, and it's easy to sit in the gallery. What was most important about that news conference was the show of unity, even though it was disorganized a bit in its messaging. The fact that the governor and the mayor, the U.S. senator, the U.S. House member, and law enforcement, these folks are not always together politically. Some are Republicans, some are Democrats. Some represent the city, some represent the suburbs. The united front, I thought, was a positive step, even though maybe the messaging could certainly have been tighter. So we've got to give a little bit of an understanding of the duress and the pressure. And you can't maybe organize everything so perfectly when you're operating in a crisis mode. But here's my predisposition. The mayor should lead, and everyone should allow the mayor to lead, because under emergency preparedness responses, the mayor's the chief elected official. And with all due respect to the governor and the U.S. senator and the other members of the legislative branch, the mayor should be the leader of the messaging around this event and orchestrate the role of others so that you have a clear sense going out to the public and they have confidence. See, confidence in the next steps. And the next step that's important for New Orleans is this Sugar Bowl game that now will take place tomorrow.
Right. And I just want to say, as a I've been a reporter almost my whole life, my whole career. And I always, I am one of the many people who ring those phones and say, we need answers, we need a press conference. And so, hat tip to everybody who did come out, because that was really important to have that united front, as you mentioned, and to get us some information. So
thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.